Call this meeting to order, December 12th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, you can. Mr. Sterling?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mrs. Brogan?
Here.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Jill Brogan?
Here.
Mrs. Meeks here.
Chris Arduino, recording secretary.
Terrell Yarbrough, superintendent.
Shelley Wagner, Human Resources.
Michelle Earp, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Rand, business and operations.
Okay. Turn over to you, Jason.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have our friends from Windsor Elementary joining us for the pledge. And you can weigh in.
Everybody stand.
Can I ask that they practice introducing themselves? Is that okay?
That would be more than,
All right, so we're going to start with our first grade and move on to sixth grade. Oh, ready? Tell them who you are. Say it nice and loud.
I'm Henry.
Oh.
First grade. I'm in Leslie Boy's class. Hi, I'm Landon. I'm in first grade. I'm in Mr. Schultz's class. Hi, I'm Garrett, and I'm in second grade in Miss Mario's class. Hi, I'm Lux. I'm in Miss Fachi's class in second grade. Hi, my name's Cal. I am in second grade in Miss Finwell's class. Hi, I am Aria, and I'm in third grade in Miss Corey's class. Yeah. Hi, I'm Carter. I'm in fifth grade in Miss Triggestav's class. Hi, I'm Bailey. I'm in fifth grade in Miss Schrader's class.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm in sixth grade. I'm in Miss Harbison's class.
Oh, cute. You're doing a great job as well, guys. You ready? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Check, guys. So if you guys could all, if I could have the board come around so we can get a photo, please. We've got a great group here. So if you all come this way, students, if you want to come kind of stand in the middle, and then I'll let all the adults come stand behind you. Families, I'll get someone real quick, and then if you want to take some pictures, feel free. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Bye-bye. Oh, bye-bye.
Awesome job. Good job, guys.
All right, thank you guys. That was awesome.
Good job, guys.
See you tomorrow.
Yep. You did an amazing job. Thank you.
You can see you clapping, Evelyn.
Stand in front of me.
that's awesome.
That's why I had to do it again.
All right.
I clapped it. Yes.
I think you were just behind.
I brought this so you knew everybody that had a check mark was here. That's their name.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
I'd like to take a motion and a second for approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Rogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Rogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye. All right, turn it over to you, Dr. Robert.
All right, so that was an awesome pledge. I mean,
Yep.
all of our students do a fantastic job, but I really like how they added their names in there.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. All right, so the mission of the Harlem Consolidated School District as a vital part of the community is to help diverse learners realize their unlimited potential by providing an educational program dedicated to academic excellence and the development of strong character in a safe and respectful learning environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next agenda item for the Board of Education is a public hearing to receive public comments on the proposal to sell not to exceed $8,500,000 working cash fund bonds for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district. All persons desiring to be heard will have an opportunity to present written or oral testimony with respect thereto. Josh Reese?
I just want to make one note on the bonds, and when we were working with PMA on the bond schedule, that for the first, as the payments are made on the bond, the first year, there will be a 2-cent increase to the tax rate, and then that will drop back down to the tax rate that it's been currently, so.
All right.
$0.02.
I have to ask again, if the public has any questions, comments, or written or oral statements. Okay. All persons have been given opportunity to present oral and written testimony with respect to the proposed issuance of the bond. I'll ask for a motion and a second to adjourn the public hearing following a roll call vote.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Okay. Evelyn, motion to adjourn the public hearing is passed.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
No,
Yeah.
Please, the first and second on that motion.
Motion for, this is for passing?
No, this is just,
There's the adjournment, okay. The first one was okay. I just want to clarify.
Second.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
as having passed, the public hearing closed at 6:08 PM. We need a motion and a second to approve the board meeting, regular and closed minutes, November 14th, 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Jason Bloom.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is my. They want to follow me. Introduce somebody.
We didn't have one of those then.
Should have rehearsed this process. And thankfully, to Coach's request after workout, they all did go home and shower.
Well, I don't know about one of them.
Okay, so, obviously, this is a group that many of you recognize, and so we're excited tonight to introduce to you a record-setting team for us here at Harlem, and the Nick 10 Coach of the Year, and Coach Moonhan. So, I'm going to turn it over to him to let him talk about this year, the season, all their accomplishments. We'll hear from the kids and who they are, so we can put some faces to their names, as you probably just see them in helmets and don't get a chance to see their faces too often. So, Coach.
Yes. Unfortunately, not as many of our kids are here as we'd like to have here, but they're in other sports. We do have a lot of, our players do play in a lot of sports. Megan right now is our kicker, Megan Gentry here. She has more points in the Big Ten than any girl in the history of the Big Ten. And that's with, she kicks our extra points and did a great job. She was 35 of 37 this year. So she did a fantastic job for us, and we enjoy having her out there, and I think she enjoys it. The funniest thing, I think, was in a playoff game, she ran up to me, I think he got blocked, right? She runs up to me, she goes, "I'm so sorry, I won't do it again, I won't miss another one, I promise." I'm like, "It's not your fault, he got blocked." But that's the seriousness that she takes in it, and she enjoys it, I believe. You know, she enjoys it quite well. We had an incident this year where one of our, well, I'll tell you a little bit about the season, then we'll go there, and I'll let Mr. Buzzy Cross speak at that point. This year was a different type of year. At first, we came out of the gates and went down 17-0 against Hano, and we're like, what is going on? And all 17 points were fumbles returned for touchdowns. And I think it was a block. No, they got the ball on the like 20-yard line and kicked the field goal. And so we were a little bit like, what's going on? But then we fought back. And that was one thing that happened. But prior to that, which we never said anything out there, we didn't belliger it, and this just goes to the testament of these young people is their perseverance. We got hit with adversity throughout the year. Before we snapped the ball, Connor, he's one of our captains, you want to step forward? Connor blew out his knee in practice, just making a cut. So he never got to, this is his senior year, started for us for 3 years, and never even got to see the field. He did get to see it in the playoffs. We had him kneel down when we were in Amundsen. So he did get to go out there and take a knee, but adversity hit. He was one of our top receivers, 3-year starter. A 4-year starter also went down the dead period week, right? He was playing basketball. Boom, blew out his ACL. So 2 of our top 3 receivers were gone. The only one left, where's he at? Kelton, and that's where Mr. Buzzy Cross will come in. That's Kelton, his son over there. Kelton's out working extra because he's thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do all this on my own now. And so he was working his tail off, and all of a sudden, go ahead, Mr. Buzzy Cross, you can. We were all, 2 days.
My second week of coaching, learning, and we're sitting in the room, and Megan comes in frantic. And she's like, yeah, Kelton's having a seizure on the football field. She's the only one out there with him. Never had a medical issue. So I think I did the 100-meter and.
We were in a coaching meeting.
Get out there. He's staring off into space. Shit going out of his, stuff coming out of his mouth. Slight pulse. Called the ambulance, got him. Started coming to. Didn't know Coach Mo. Didn't know me. I'm like, okay. Ended up being heat stroke. Nothing, but for Megan, these 2 have known each other since they were born. Her dad was my lieutenant on the fire department. We always got each other's back, and these 2 have had each other's back. So on behalf of my wife and Kelton, Megan would like to give you something for letting us have our boy.
And we just felt this was a more appropriate time to present this to Megan.
Thank you, guys.
So, all right, we'll go back to season. All right, Kelton just felt a lot of pressure on his back, so he was out there working extra and wanted to continue to work extra. So he was out there, Megan was out there kicking extra points. So our kids do put in a lot of extra work. Thank God we were all in the building in a coach's meeting. It was after practice, it wasn't before. So practice was over, he just wanted to get some extra work in between. He does understand now you gotta drink some water between them. So we talked about that as well. So Cal did a great job with that. So the season started off with adversity coming out of the gate. We had a young man who also joined the team as a wide receiver, and in the Guilford game, he goes down with a broken collarbone. So now we're back down to having just Kelton again, with the only experienced receiver we have. So we had to move DeAndre Young. Originally, we had planned on starting the season with DeAndre Young as our running back, but we took this little sophomore by the name of Jamani Muhammad, and we had him come up, and all summer long, he's like, well, am I coming up to varsity? I said, I don't know yet. We gotta see how it's going. So we kept working him, and then it just came to a point where, yeah, you have to play varsity because we've had too many injuries in the skill positions. And Jamani came up here, and he's a great young man too, and he just worked his tail off. He made All-State as a sophomore. He's the first sophomore in the history of the Nick Ted to win the rushing title. So he just did a great job for us. But adversity hit Guilford. Our kids had to go through that adversity. They had to go through the perseverance of that. But the thing that bothered them more is a lot of the community stuck with them, but the community some of the community didn't stick with you, did they? And that was something that really got them mad. And I think that's where it started to build into, I think James Cooper Sr. said it the best. He said, at that Guilford game, I didn't see a team. There was a bunch of individuals trying to do their thing. But they got mad because people came with the B North game and said, you guys are going to lose by 50. And that really bothered them that their teachers and some of their peers said that to them. And they came together as a team at that point. We knew the talent was there. We just knew we were really, really young. At one point in the Boylan game, Chris and I looked, Chris is our DB coach, we looked at each other and he goes, we got 4 sophomores out there. They're going to get senior receivers. So we were really, really young because of the attrition. Timmy Wessel's right here. He's a junior. He was one of our captains this year. He had to play outside linebacker, inside linebacker. Matt Tung's never played before. This is him right here. He's never played. He just came out this year, and he ended up starting all 13 games, man. Yeah. Started all of them. But he worked his butt off. He had to. And he played a couple different positions. So these are the guys. Zion Wrights is a sophomore, came out. We started 2 sophomores on the offensive line, a junior, and then another 2 juniors saw action, and another sophomore, and a freshman saw some action. On the running back, it was Jamani almost all whole year. He's a sophomore. So we were extremely young. For these guys to come together and fight like they did to make sure. They set a goal at the beginning of the year. The goal wasn't to win conference. I hate to say it like this because I know it's important to some people. We really don't care about conference. We want to make a run in the playoffs. We want to win a state championship for Harlem. That's what we want as a group here. And that's what they fight for. And the goal is to do better than the year before. So with all that adversity that hit them right out of the gate, everyone's like, are they going to be able to do what the other team did? The other team only lost 1 game going into the playoffs. What's going to happen here? Well, you saw what happened. In the playoffs, they came together and they played great. The first game, that Amundsen team, they had a kid with 33 touchdowns on the year, receiving. DeAndre Young shut him down. He didn't have it. Jamani ran for 200 yards in the game. The defense held, the offense blocked, and we did a great job. Kelton scored a touchdown in that game, caught a couple deep balls as well. We just came together and played. And that's all we asked them to do, is just trust in yourselves, trust in your brothers around you. There is some of the community that still loves you, that believes in you. And they did. And then as they continued to win, all of a sudden the community support became bigger and bigger for them. And they reached their goal. Their goal each year, it's been since the day I got here, you got to do better than the year before. That's our goal. Every single year. So we've got some juniors and a sophomore in here. Their goal next year, they got to beat the quarterfinals. They already know what their goal is. They got to beat the quarterfinals, because then they can set their legacy. Last year, they set the legacy by winning in the playoffs. This year, they won 2 games in the playoffs. Next year, we'll see. Gotta win the legacy, right? Gotta keep it going. That's their goal. And the students that we have at Harlem have the grit to do it. They just want your support. They just want more and more support from you. They fight. They buy their own uniforms. They've raised the money to get them, and they just love football. And we are so honored that you would honor us in this manner, that we appreciate it. The people that are here, just so you know, this is Chris Weber. He's a defensive coach with me. Mr. Buzzy Cross, he came out and volunteered for us this year. Ken DeBose, he's the offensive coach, coordinator on the varsity. Timmy Wessels is one of our captains. He's a junior, outside linebacker, inside linebacker. Isaac Johnson, he was a defensive end, did a great job for us. He's also a junior. Megan's a junior. She's our kicker. She'll be adding to her record next year, but she's got her record. Zion Reichs is a sophomore. Matt Tongue is a junior. Connor Willard's a senior, and Kelton Buzzycross is a senior. And they both played wide receiver. Obviously, Kelton did. Kelton played quarterback this year. That's the only snap he got. He got to kneel down. Take a knee. Connor Willard. That was his only snap on the year. He got to take a knee, and he appreciated it. We thank you guys.
Well, on behalf of the board and the school district, obviously, we're proud of all of you, and for me personally, most proud of just the moment that we saw there, that interaction, and that really speaks volumes to what it means to be part of the team. So, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can try. So we can have them in the back and you all in the front.
Right.
I'm not.
Not one of the board.
Yeah, but we're board members. So we'll try and.
What do you have?
Have a conversation with them after the meeting. Next time board meeting.
Let me get back here.
Oh, this guy.
No, Timmy's next.
One, two, three. Awesome, thank
We appreciate all of that.
Next year will be better.
Next year they'll set the record. We want a state championship.
I think that's what Hanu does.
Thank you very much.
I didn't get a chance to show my support. I didn't get a chance to do my support because they gave me a ring. Number one board, and all this stuff. I'm gonna do it this year. Yeah. No, sorry.
There are no comments for the community. Moving on to approval of the bills.
All right, thank you. That's a tough follow there for
It
me.
is a very tough-
I'll do the best I can here. All right, the total payables for this period were $3,459,146.27. There were void checks of $50,498.75. There were two payrolls this period for a total amount of $6,445,594.54. For a total expenditure of $9,904,740.81. Split out by fund, the education fund paid $6,415,794.52. The tort fund paid $7,000 even and 67 cents. The operations and maintenance fund paid $403,657.51. The debt service fund paid $2,092,045 even. This is our main debt service payment for the year, and this does pay our 2016 bonds off. The transportation fund paid $371,048.24. The IMRF Social Security Fund paid $236,901.37. The Capital Projects Fund paid $378,293.50. Again, for total expenditures of $9,904,740.81. Are there any unanswered ballot questions? That's it for those.
A motion and a second for approval of the bills.
Motion. Second.
Joe Brogan,
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling,
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri,
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Well, that's a hard thing to follow. You see all the team out I'm just at a loss to hear about the kicker having to save her childhood friend. That's an amazing thing that she did, and I'm glad that they were out there together instead of just one person out there. Thank you. I also want to thank Windsor. Ms. Kaczynski, thank you so much for bringing the kids. They're awesome. Their energy starts this meeting, so I'm glad that we get to feed off that. The first young student that came up in the front, he's awesome. He wanted to make sure we're all clapping and making sure that we're all included. I love it. Thank you again. Bringing back to the football team. We've gone farther. They went farther than they ever have. This is a testament to Coach Mo and more to the kids that they're calling up from sophomore year to. So when I played, it was strictly seniors and juniors. Even we got called up during the playoff games, but got to sit on the sideline for it. But it's a testament that they're able to do that and the adversity that they overcome. Look forward for the future. Look forward to see what they do in all aspects of life. Jason, did you get a count on how many kids from Harlem went through?
Yeah, we had 259. Well, 254 that went through from Harlem, 5 that were shot for.
All right. So last Saturday, we had 259 Harlem kids go through at Christmas for Kids, and we're able to get a little something more than they were expecting. So I mean, we put the invite out for 300, but got 259. So hey, thank you guys and for all that came and helped. Thank you. It meant a lot to the families. So again, I say thank you. And with that, I will say our next regular board meeting will be Tuesday, January 17th after the Christmas break at 6 p.m. And a reminder, today was the first day to file your petitions. I know that has happened, so I will end my report with that. Turning it over to Joe Brogan.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to say congratulations to the boys bowler, Devin Titus. The other day, he scored a perfect 300 game at the Guilford Viking International. Yeah. Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations again to the football team. It's been an honor being able to watch and see them grow. I mean, last year Megan did JV cheer, and then for the varsity game, ran and changed and was out on the field for varsity football. But being able to watch them play and grow as a team through the years has been great, and you know, they made history. Congratulations to Harlem Middle School competition cheer and Harlem High School varsity cheer at their respective divisions at their first competitions. They both placed first, so that's huge. That's awesome. Just start the season on the win. It's just awesome. Thank you to the Windsor students and Mrs. Kaczynski. They were wonderful. They were wonderful. And I thought they did a great job introducing themselves as well. Let's see, the next policy committee meeting is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023 at 6 p.m. And that is all I have.
I'm just gonna also interject the artwork.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yeah.
stole it.
I knew you were gonna say it, and I just wanted to get it before Kirk could say so.
Or it'll be even
All right,
better.
I'm gonna turn it over to Evelyn Meeks.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm still gonna say I love the artwork.
Yeah.
Especially the little circular, I don't know if it's supposed to be the earth or whatever, but I just love it. It just sets the room, it makes the room look peaceful and beautiful with the different colors. And first, I would like to thank Windsor Elementary School and Mrs. Kaczynski for bringing your students. And I also want to apologize to the little young man that didn't think I clapped. He didn't see me. He came. He said, "What's your name?" I said, "Evelyn." He said, "Did you clap?" Yeah, and I did it again. So I apologize if you didn't see me, but I'll give you another clap. And I really appreciate you pointing it out. Good.
Keeping us on our toes.
Yeah, keeping us on our toes. So thank you for that. Also, I want to, I attended the joint conference this year, and it was really a nice experience this year. The classes that I took was the equity and social justice, and partnership is a new leadership, and the board role in community engagement. Okay, I made a mistake. Equity and social justice is a meeting I went to last week. We had a good meeting at that meeting, and it's continuing to get better, and I want to thank the guys that are coming to that meeting, are participating on a job well done. I really like attending and seeing the great ideas that they're all coming up with, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And so hopefully next year we'll have more people attending, teachers, administrators, and people in the community. It's an open door, so you're welcome to come in. And that meeting will be January 26th at 4:30 at the high school in the West 145. Let me see, what else did I do? Oh, I attended a business meeting. Kurt and Josh, you guys are amazing. I'm sorry, Kurt, I had to get it in there.
I'm glad you showed up. I'd rather take the thunder and see you here.
But Josh, greatly appreciate you. You're always on your toes, keeping us aware of what's going on, and you always do a good job of getting everything done. So I really appreciate you. And Kurt, you're awesome at asking questions and keeping us aware.
Yes.
You do the things that Sharon and I or Sue or whatever, whoever attend that meeting, are kind of like wanting to say, but don't know how to say it. But the way you express.
What you're saying is I'm not afraid to ask stupid questions. No, I
You're
hear you.
not.
I
And
hear
you
you.
express it so well.
No, but they get, everything gets answered in very intelligent ways.
And you
Yes.
express it so well, so can keep doing what you're doing. And I know I'm forgetting something. Oh, everybody, I wish you a Merry Christmas and looking forward to a Happy New Year in this district, and may our district continue to prosper and blossom and bloom. And also, I cannot forget the football team. Yay, yay! I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend this year like I usually do, but I was taking care of my mom. But next year, I will be there, fair and square, right on time. I really love you guys. So, and then the cheerleaders at the middle school and the high school. It's a lot of people just don't realize the work and how hard it is being a cheerleader or a dancer. You know, people think it's easy, but it's a lot of work going through, a lot of pain, sore muscles, trying not to fall, trying not to stretch anything out of place. You guys are greatly appreciated. And everybody in here, I greatly appreciate each one of you. And I think that's all I have to say. I think it is, but if I forget, I'm sorry. I'll remember later on. Thank you.
I'm just gonna interject right after that.
What did I
So,
forget?
December 14th, which is Wednesday,
Oh,
you're gonna be honored by Isby down in Springfield for her being an amazing board member and all the things that she's done. So, just wanted to give Evelyn Meeks her due.
You mentioned you attended, and you kind of left that one
Yeah.
out. What other thing did I attend? Oh, I got that award.
I forgot.
That'd be, and if anybody needs, I have the address for if you're gonna drive down to Springfield, so I'll give it to you. All right, now, turning that back over to Kurt Thompson.
Sure. I always have to follow Evelyn, and I've got a list of things that you might not have covered, which always whittles it down. So, thanks, of course, to our amazing football team and everything that they did this season. I can't wait to see next year and how they keep moving forward. It's great to see all the kindergarten, everyone from Windsor in here to do the pledge. I think, Josh, from now on, pledge of allegiance at our meetings. It
At
helps.
business services?
Huh?
You want kids at the business services?
Absolutely. I want someone in there, keeps us awake, even if they leave, it's gonna be great. I think that's the new thing.
Tough sell.
It is a tough sell for, yes. That being said, there is quite a bit going on at this time, and even Evelyn cannot hit them all, so I'm going to go through my list. I'm gonna see not that she missed them, but there's just so much. Let's see, we had Golden Apple and Collins Aerospace. They donated that fantastic thermal imaging to our automotive program for CET. Fantastic, give some shout outs there. I thought this was cool. I'm mad I didn't get invited to try some of it, but the Illinois Pork Producers Association, say that 3 times fast, gave a donation for our culinary students. And they showed some of the pictures of it they were making, and looks absolutely amazing. So I'm glad they were able to do that. Those donations are just so great to our students. Let's see, I don't think I mentioned the Winnebago County Sheriff's Packing the Bus promotion that went on this weekend. Awesome, I'm glad that goes through. Plus, I mean, on top of all the good parts, got to see the bridge bus again. So great to everyone that put that together, getting a chance to use it as many times as possible. I can't wait to see it in July for some reason. Let's see here. Again, to everyone, Mike, everything you do to organize that. 259 kids. That's awesome. It's not quite a record, but I love the fact that, you know, striving for even more next year. That's so great.
We asked 300.
300 is the record. Is that right?
No, we asked for
We
300.
asked for 300.
We invited 300, but we had about 30-some no-shows, so we actually invited more than we ever had before.
That's great.
It's always been 250, so this was the most we've ever
Moving
invited.
on.
That's a fantastic problem to have. Evelyn, congratulations for the thing that you forgot about, and I can't wait for the, I wish I could attend, but you know you're gonna do great and bring some awesome, you're gonna have better words than awesome coming from the speech that you give this week. And then lastly, everyone that came to the business services meeting, it was great to see everyone here. I come armed with lots of questions, and it doesn't matter what I throw at you guys. You have long, thought-out, detailed answers to every question I can throw at you, and that really helps. So anything that we move forward, I like to make sure it's grounded, it's based, we're spending the money correctly, and the way the preparations are done for that, from software to phone stuff to fax machines, it's all critical. Yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah.
All important. And if anyone wants to come and see what we do and get some of those questions answered, please join us. It is a great time. Josh does an absolute excellent job and details over every single number, which is fantastic. And if you're curious, hey, Kurt, when do I get a chance to check out this great meeting? Well, I've got you covered. Your next opportunity after Christmas here is going to be January 11th, 2023, right here at 6 p.m. So come, join us, check it out. It's going to be fantastic. With that, I hope everyone has a great Christmas, great holidays, everything's coming through. Enjoy your break. I mean, all the teachers, all the students equally need that, so we get to come back recharged here afterwards. That concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Smith.
I would like to also say congratulations, Ms. Meeks. Well deserved, very well deserved. I would like to comment about the art. I do have a concern that if the fans come on and the air exchangers and they move, that it'll set off the motion detector. So we might want to check.
Are you taking the art away from me? I finally get art, Larry. I get to enjoy the art finally, and you're taking it away from me?
I don't want the superintendent to have to come out here at 2 o'clock because Permar called him and got him out of bed. So I'm just trying to look out for the world, all right? So, but I do love the new art display, so thank you very much for that. And again, congratulations to the football team. And the underlying message that Coach sent that kept resonating with me is he kept saying that it was all about the team. And I'm sure that Evelyn would attest to her success as a board member has to do with the team that she is a part of. And it's just so important. So I came up with something while I was sitting here while he was talking about team, and I said, well, we could say, together everyone achieves more.
Ooh, yes, I like that.
I didn't make that up.
I thought you did.
But I think it is. I think it's so important that when we work together, and he articulated it very well, that it is that working together that is so important. And all, when you talk about business services and all the different areas that Josh oversees monetarily, that represents people. And that represents systems, and that represents things that people are doing. And everyone has to be doing those things, and when they're doing those things together, they achieve a great goal, and that's what our mission is about. So it's just everything working together. And I think that Coach really hammered it on the head when he said that's what it took for them to overcome all those adversities. So those adversities that we see on a daily basis are really just another opportunity to work together to overcome them. And speaking of working together, there is a education committee meeting coming up, and I've actually been practicing this. The education committee is tomorrow. Oh.
I won't come, I won't be here.
That's all I have.
I'm coming January, Larry. I won't be here tomorrow.
Okay.
Did you get that verbatim?
Yeah, it's sort of like a play on ho ho ho. I guess when you have to explain it, it's not good, is it?
Oh, Larry.
All right, moving on to Sue Brogan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna say ditto, 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 ditto. Thank you for bringing the students, Ms. Kaczynski. Great bunch of students that came in and did the pledge today. Congratulations, football team, Megan, the coaches, players, awesome season. Congratulations to the cheer teams. Congratulations to the bowler. I also attended IASB, some great classes there. No matter how long you've sat here on the board, I think we learn something new every year at those things. Between the different classes that we're allowed to take and attend. And a lot of great information taken away from that. I think that ends my report. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Sharon Renee.
Ditto to what everybody said, just bear with me, I'm sick. I was able to I was honored to be able to watch Evelyn receive her award. I was so proud, and I feel like I'm just so lucky that I have her to teach me and guide me every day when I have questions. The Tri-Conference is a really good conference for somebody like me who's new and learning every day, and I think it just offers so many different classes for me to learn. So every day I'm like, aha moment, now I'm getting this. This goes and this goes to this. And I mean, I don't think people really realize how much you have to learn. And you can't learn it overnight. It probably takes years and years to learn. And I'm lucky that I'm able to do this. What else was I gonna say? Oh, at the Tri-Conference, after she received her award, I got to listen to an amazing speaker. What was his name? Chef Jeff Henderson. And this man was amazing. He went from like the poorest area, selling drugs, got into, went to prison and found his love of cooking. And he was on all the networks and everything. And now he's dedicated his life to helping at-risk children or teens, kids who have been in prison, out of prison. And what it shows is his saying was something on the order of, if you praise them instead of always pointing out what the negative is, it makes a big difference in a child's life. And I just want to buy several of his books. I think one of his books was called Cooked, but I'm not sure.
It was close.
Yeah, and this guy just was amazing. And so it just opens your eyes to a lot of things and how we react to children and constantly praise them for the good instead of always pointing out the bad. So, and I think that's all I have. Everybody have a good Christmas and Happy New Year.
Too.
Piggybacking off of Sharon, he was an excellent speaker. He kept your attention, and he really had some hard times in his life. He was a drug dealer, but he sold drugs on his own. But now, like she was saying, he goes around the country speaking, but he also goes to different schools and talk to students and try to praise them to see. And he said you should never make a student that you feel is like below average or make them feel like they're nobody. You gotta still praise them and lift them up to make them think that they're somebody. And it took prison to make him see what he could do. But he's on I think he's on the Food Network channel. He's going blind in one of his eyes or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what that was for, but he had been stabbed and,
Yeah,
I mean, even growing up in school, growing up in his area. He didn't even like school, they didn't even go to school, these kids, that's all they did, was sell drugs and he was always told, like, he'd be failing at one, he'd be doing great in one class, B or whatever, and then all of a sudden, well, that's good, you're not good enough, you're this, well, he's like, well, I have no goals in my life, so he wants these other kids to see that they can have goals, and it doesn't have to always be, education after, you don't have to continue on, there's all other things you can do, so, trades, like, we're gonna have, yep.
I mean, he was awesome. He definitely kept your attention.
They found someone to follow up your speech. I figured it out. There we go. That's all you have to do.
That's awesome. Turning it over to administrative reports. Dr. Michelle Erb.
Thank you. I have 2 overnight travels coming up. The first one is for the Illinois High School Theater Festival. The group of students and their sponsors would be leaving on January 12th and return on the 14th, and that is in Urbana. And then the second one is for the IHSA state dance competition. The team would leave along with their coaches on January 26th and return on the 28th, and that takes place in Bloomington. Any questions? That's my report.
Thank you. Josh Rand.
All right. I apologize in advance with 15 items. So, my first item is a recommendation to approve a resolution declaring surplus property at Parker Center and Olson Park Elementary. Next is a recommendation to approve a facility request. This is with the Rockford Park District for lifeguard training. Any questions? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with IPC Midwest for a phone system replacement, an upfront cost of $188,636.99, and a monthly cost of $3,009.44. Aaron Gusky put together a nice memo kind of laying out the current system and what the new system will offer us. And Aaron and Brian Pepper and Tech spent 3 or 4 months evaluating our current system, putting the specs together, receiving the proposals, and then evaluating them. So IPC is who we currently have, who services our phones now, and the new system will be MyTel, which is also the system that we currently have too, and will offer a lot of other benefits. So the current system, the software support ends next month, and they're beginning to wind down the technical support piece of that, and it has quite a few holes in it, so this will get us up to a modern phone system. So are there any questions on that recommendation?
I have one. Soft phones available for staff.
Mm-hmm. So this will allow teachers that would like it the ability to have an app on their phone that they can dial out but not use their personal number. It's on the computer too, right?
Yes, there will be, I haven't seen as much of the software piece as I have the app that installs on the phone, but they'd have the option to use either one, and when they'd call, it looked like it's coming from the school.
So laptop or cell phone, either one would work as, so technically every teacher would have a phone in their room.
So, yeah, so we'll have physical phones every handful of rooms. In this pricing is a bundle of 100, because not all teachers are gonna use this, so we'll let them see who uses it. If we need more, we can easily add more to
Correct,
that.
but I mean, I'm just saying,
The equivalent
this
of,
app
yes.
is the equivalent of putting a phone in every room.
Yep.
That was my question.
This will provide the backup if something goes down. There's just a ton of other feature enhancements that'll make the system, because right now also we can't see who's the calls coming in and out, so Ryan will be able to see if there's a call that we can trace it down a little bit more.
Being able to call parents to do any kind of student-teacher kind of thing.
Yeah.
This will help alleviate that, so you might have a bigger need than
Sure, yeah, no problem.
And even for the safety aspect, to have that ability in each classroom
Yeah,
is huge.
no, it's a big
Was it the
thing.
ability to track 911 calls was a big part, as well as just being able to keep track of phone calls in general, of having kind of everything now digitized versus kind of as it comes into an analog system. Please tell me if I'm saying anything wrong, but
Yep, no,
like
you're
happened
good.
from the other day.
Are there any other questions?
That was it.
Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve award of bid to purchase two 33-passenger buses for a cost of $199,994 with Central States Bus Sales. So we talked about this quite a bit in business services. We put out all 15 buses for bids, and they came in historically high, so we did not recommend the other ones. They went up $38,000 a bus in 1 year. So we are putting that bid back out to look at conventional and different options. We'll evaluate all of that and bring a recommendation as to how to move forward in the January meeting with that. But for these two, these are our longer range vehicles. They have about 120,000 miles on them. Central States did reserve 2 frames from Ford because those are limited also. So Don, talking with some people in the industry and the salespeople, they recommended that we move forward with these 2. So that's what we're recommending tonight.
We're hopeful that it's not gonna push us back on our schedule.
Yeah, so, yeah, hopeful, like, if we can get the conventionals closer and then see where, really what happens with the prices in the future. Because if they start at 180 and go up, that's a whole different problem. Because, I also talked to the state director of transportation too about what all this looks like. Because the state has a set pot of money, and then based on what the reimbursements are, determines that reimbursement rate. Last year was high, this year it's gonna trend down a little bit. So when we look at that schedule, that's a 4-year average of that percentage. But as electric buses come in, there's just a lot of aspects. But at 180,000, who's buying buses too? So, I've never seen an increase like not even close. So we were all taken a little back. We weren't properly warned that huge bids were coming. We were, holy cow, because it would have been an additional $600,000 for 1 year more than what we paid last year. So that definitely wasn't in the plan. So we will, we'll see what we get for bids. If I can get it close to that and get us to next year, and then kind of evaluate a little bit more. So that's the plan.
What about worst case scenario, the bids are too high, are we have the ability to kick the can?
So you can, but that will cost us more. When I update the schedule with the higher prices, as long as the percentage is relatively close to what the state is, we'll be okay in the long run. What happens is, with this 600,000, it ends up being about $2 million more before you get to that point where you're coming out ahead. But when you come out ahead, it's even more. So, do we have an extra 600 grand next year? Like, it's close if we can make that work or not. If we could get it to 140 rather than 180, then I think we can. Sure, we can stop at any point. But with the goal of getting the depreciation of every bus every year and the return value, because the market should be higher, we're going to try and get the trade-in values back before that next meeting if possible. So we'll just take a look at all of that and see the best we can do. If we can get new buses but they're conventional for a year, then that's where we have to be.
The trade-in should be increased as well, so.
We have heard of a bid in Southern Illinois that a bus is bid at $212,000. So that's the wrong direction, but yeah. So not great news on that front, but that's why we're just recommending 2 smaller ones right now.
Okay.
So, any other questions on that? All right. Next is a recommendation to accept the July and August treasurer's report. This is that time of the year where now that the audit is done, we will bring 2 a month. The audit will be presented at the January meeting. So right after break, the auditors will be here and go through that, and then I will continue to bring 2 treasurer's reports at a time. Are there any questions on those? Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Lexia Learning Systems for professional development services in the amount of $60,680 paid with ESSER II funds. Dr. Erb put together a nice memo kind of explaining what that training is and also talked about it in business services too. This is for letters professional development. Does anyone have any questions on that?
I think the big thing was just calling out that not only is the system at the training of the teachers, and it looks like we have agreement of the union for how that's gonna work out as well, so just to kind of know as we're looking into this, there's the cost of the software, the training, and then of course getting, the teachers the time and money to get caught up and learned on it, so.
Great. All right, next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Solution Tree for professional development services that, with a not to exceed of $7,500, paid with Title I funds. Are there any questions about that training? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with the ROE for 2 professional development presenters for January 17th SIP Day at a total cost of $7,000, paid with Title II funds. Any questions? Next is a recommendation to approve a 1-year digital subscription with BrainPop and BrainPop Junior for a cost of $13,765.50, paid with Title I funds.
How long have you been using them?
We've used them for a long time. BrainPop.
Several years. We brought it this is our 3rd year in a row where we brought it here. Individual buildings have paid for it in the past as well.
Okay.
This is that same way, isn't it? Isn't this through the individual building again? I was
The
There are
title,
3.
each one shows from their,
Okay.
to use their title funds for that.
This one is Lovesburg, Olson, and Windsor.
Yeah, I think that's important to note on a lot of these too.
Any other questions?
That was it.
Okay. Next is a recommendation to, and these kind of go together, but we list them separately. Recommendation to approve a 1-year digital subscription with Raz Kids for 14 licenses at $128 per license for a cost of $1,792, paid with Title I funds. Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve a 1-year digital subscription with Reading A to Z for 22 licenses, also at $128 per license, for a total cost of $2,816, paid with Title I funds. Questions? Okay. It is architect MOU season, so my next 3 recommendations will cover that. The first one is a recommendation to accept an MOU with DLA Architects to provide architectural services for the Harlem Middle School bathroom renovation and interior painting project. So, as I'm sure a lot of you know, the restrooms at the middle school are original to the building, and some of them are in rough shape.
Original paint.
Huh?
Original paint.
So this is to renovate the bathrooms by the entrance and by the cafeteria.
Yes.
And in terms of painting, this will be kind of the start of beginning to paint the halls in that building, because a lot of that paint is original. So this will be the main, if you walk out of the main office, go to the right, it's that main hallway that way. So a lot of that glazed brick is original, the yellow glazed brick from the 70s, and so this will start to spruce up the building a little bit between new bathrooms and starting to paint. I think it'll be a much needed facelift for the middle school, so. Any questions on that one?
Just to kind of, thank you.
Welcome.
We're not building a new building, so we gotta update the ones we got, so gotta just start that project.
Absolutely. Next is a recommendation to accept an MOU with DLA to provide professional services for building mechanical controls upgrade project paid with ESSER II funds. So this is for DLA to put together specs to go out to bid for updated controls. We did write into ESSER II $500,000. So I know there's more amounts listed in the MOU, but our grant is capped at 500. So, you know, our hope was to get 3 buildings done. So we've done the control units on the head end of the boiler. These are control units at the classroom unit ventilator level. So DLA will put together those specs, we'll go out to full bid, and then bring back those bid results. Any questions on that?
Do we have any cost savings at the end of this project?
This is more of just making sure the controls are up to date and communicate effectively. I'm not aware
The
that.
other controls were in the front that were gonna give us a reduction with efficiency. This is more on the.
Was that
individual
software?
room.
You're talking about the software
Yeah.
driving one that we had?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so, I mean, I think this will help campus optimize, but I'm not aware that this will specifically save money from that end. The current unit ventilators use a PIMS like communication system that they don't make anymore, so we stack the old ones, and then, you know, as they go bad, and we just have to begin. Problem with the controls is that there's so many controls over 1 million square feet. We've done a lot with them, but if we can get $500,000 done here, then I think we, need to do that and keep moving. We did the Marquette classroom controls when we did the boiler. Maples is done, so we're not gonna get 3 buildings in this, because the McChesney building alone was, really 60% of that. So if we can get at least 2 buildings here, I think that's a good step.
Okay.
Any other questions on controls? All right, my last MOU is a recommendation to accept the memo of understanding with DOA to provide a 10-year life safety survey and facilities assessment update for a cost of $171,800. This is a combination of our required 10-year life safety survey and then the facility assessment that we've added on to that. So last time we did this was 2011, and it was actually $220,000 at that point. So the MOU lays out what's involved, and so this will be the document that we will use to prioritize projects for the next 10 years. So because it's been almost 11 years since they've done this work, and we've knocked out a lot of those projects, but things are gonna be reprioritized, whether they're windows or roofs or boilers, security, like this will be kind of the top-down priority need that if funds become available, we look at this list and say, okay, this is the next thing we have to do. I feel like, I'm a little biased, but that we've done a good job trying to keep the buildings up to date. But with that being said, there's still 1 million square feet. Like the secured entrances are done. Most of the galvanized copper, or the galvanized pipes are gone, so we've got copper in there. So we've done a lot of things that won't come back, but there are also things that are just continual maintenance items
Can
too.
we get, if this goes through, can we get a report 2 ways? When they get done, can we see the one from 2011 with what they itemized and say we need to be done with, and what we're at today, and see if any of those are still on there, or
Sure.
what we've approved done and what we have to fix, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and they provide us with a binder tabbed by each school with maps. Getting the roof survey over the next 10 years will be important too. You see everything from the life safety to even the facility assessment's also important because it's non-life safety things too. It's not just the required legal things, it's what do the building systems themselves look like, so that we know whether they're AC units or whatever, cooling towers, whatever we have to do. And I think that's really good information because there were some schools and buildings that we tried to knock out everything. A lot of it was like fire ceiling penetration stuff, and we tried to do pretty much all of those. But in 2009, we had $1 million in roofs that needed to be updated immediately because we just replaced them by what we leaked. And so we got that to where it's 100%, it was caught up. But we do know that in the next few years, we need a middle school roof, we need an H9 roof, and then some of those early roofs will start to cycle back around. This dock's really critical to staying up on where we're at, so.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions on that? Okay. My final item is a recommendation to renew a 1-year contract with Alex Gary Communications at a cost of $1,000 per month. And Mr. Bloom put together a memo on that, talking through the alumni piece. And I don't know if you guys have any questions or if you have anything you want to say on that.
Yeah, I was just going to give a little bit of history because I know there's some questions that came out of business services. And so we started this plan back based off the previous long-range plan that we approved in 2016. That said in 2018 we would start to develop an alumni relations plan as a way to, the actual goal was to generate and maintain customs that foster a culture of power and pride for past, present, and future generations. And so we felt like as a group that met at that time to determine kind of where we go with this alumni relations idea was that we first needed to figure out how to connect with our alumni. And so that's when we initially started that plan with Alex Gary back in 2019. He worked for us for about 18 months, building a database that he actually then, as he was building a database, he started to encounter alumni that were doing some pretty cool things. And so along the way, he started to do more for us in regards to, we started a Facebook page, an alumni newsletter. He was doing some writing for us. He's been managing this Facebook page all along, which is a pretty active page with our alumni, where he's highlighting alumni accomplishments, that type of stuff. And so it's turned in from just the database development to doing some of this other work for us to try and highlight and really kind of work towards the culture piece. And so, we're hoping to continue to build a database because he's got over 9,000 alumni in the database. But what he's trying to do is make connections. So ultimately to get an email address, to get some sort of communication. Because when we looked at other different companies that do some of the alumni stuff, a lot of it was, we'll take your information, we'll figure out where the student lives, when they were in school, and that's what you get. So we had this years ago, we got a book from Harris, it was, and it gave everybody's contact information, but it was just their home address that they lived at when they were in school. And that really didn't benefit us a whole lot because we didn't have email addresses, and most people moved out of their homes at that point. So, so this is why we kind of went down this path, and then it's morphed into really him doing a little bit of both for us. And so I have asked him to break down the detailed report of the minimum 20 hours that he's spending and how much time is devoted to actual alumni database building, to the other activities of connecting with alumni. And so he has worked with some of our classrooms. He's connected some of our alumni to some of our career classrooms to get our students interacting with the alumni. And so our hope ultimately through all of this is really about building connection with our alumni and trying to stay in touch with them and really looking at how do we maintain that relationship, how do we stay connected, how do we get them involved in things with our current students. In the group that met in 2018, we pretty quickly determined that like this wasn't really about like a college would use alumni to raise money and that type of stuff. That will be an offset of some of the things we do, I think, and there's be opportunity for that. But really, our focus is like we just want to go back to that goal statement of how do we continue to build that Husky pride piece and really stay connected with our alumni. And so, but as that's evolved, we're kind of continuing to evolve in that process. And so as we get this database developed, next steps really are to start to really kind of refine that plan and bring a group together. The original plan was to bring an advisory group together of alumni and to staff and to say, okay, now we've got this database of a good chunk of people. What do our alumni want? What do they want to be involved in? How do we connect? And so this is really a continuation because it did have to pause when he began employment with us. And so he served as a long-term sub for us for a while. So we had to cease that contract at that time. So that's why renewal did not occur in 2020-ish or right around the time we did all the long-term subs. So that's a little bit of the history and a little bit of the why behind what we're doing with that. Any questions?
That was helpful. I was just kind of curious. To say 20 hours is a lot of time to poke around into DB, but like all the other activities really kind of help support and seeing where our money's going for that.
Absolutely, and that's a valid question because to just sit and like Google search people, like it's probably not worth that. And so really what we've been trying to do is one, to building the connections. Like, the goal is to really, he's imported all of our yearbooks from 1936-ish or something like that into a database, and he's gone back through the cycle. So he's gone, at the end of the first 18 months, he had gone through 15 years of yearbooks and connecting with students. And so he's got about a 30% return rate on connecting. So let's say he puts in 1,000, he's getting about a 30% response. So meaning that he's actually getting contact information from these alumni. So it's a little bit slow going with some of that, but really the offset, I feel like the benefit has been that he's been doing a lot of like that connecting for us and learning about people, connecting them to our current students and staff, but also writing about them, highlighting them. If you get a chance to follow the alumni Facebook page, like it's cool.
He's incredibly active, yeah.
I mean, and that's because the thing I've really valued about him is that like he's just super passionate about this work. Like he's been doing the Facebook stuff. We haven't been paying him. He's been doing it because he loves it. He loves connecting our former students to each other and to us and all that kind of stuff. And so.
If there are no other questions, that's my report tonight.
Thank you. I gotta find where on the
12C.
Dr. Schilling.
Good evening. I have a recommendation to approve the personnel agenda this evening. There is no addendum. We have 22 employments, 2 transfers, 16 resignations, and 3 leaves of absence. Now, I would like you to notice, one of those leaves of absence was on the last board agenda. The dates are tweaked just a little bit. There's a little bit of an extension there on the end of that one for Cody Tuckey. I also want you to note that those 3 leaves of absence are for educational purposes. These folks are all paraeducators. They work full-time for us, and they've come to this penultimate position in their educational career. It's time for to student teach.
That's awesome.
And we're really, really excited that they're student teaching with us. Of course, we'll give them the leave to do that. And of course, we will encourage them to stay with us for their teaching career. So I'm very proud of them.
Yes, absolutely.
We also have 2 new positions proposed this evening. The first is a paraeducator, a level B individual para. We had a student move into Windsor who has an IEP and they require an individual para. The second is a floating custodian. We have floating positions for other areas, like for example, food service, we have floating positions. And this is somebody who will come in, it's a full-time position, but they work flexible schedules. So they could work during the day, they could work in the evening, and they're helping out with custodians, trying to fill in those gaps, or give an extra hand when it's needed. And that ends it for me tonight, that's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Yarbrough.
All right, well, thank you. I don't have anything on my report, but just a quick statement, because something that Mr. Smith said and Sharon resonated with me, particularly when you talk about team, and then when you talk about seeing the good, right? And so I wanted to say before, when I say happy holidays and all that good stuff, I'm hesitant to say that because as I'm looking at the camera and for our staff who are still working and our students who are still coming to school, you still got work in school tomorrow. So still, happy holidays and all that good stuff. But what I want to really say real quickly is I really believe that this particular school board meeting and the things that were being celebrated or being said really shows what we are about, right? I mean, there's growth, there's things that we have to improve on and all those things, and I think we do a good job of doing that. But at the same time, there's a lot of good things going on in our district, and I say our district, a lot of good things, right? From our student success stories to our staff success stories, to our board, right? There's a lot of good things, and I don't think some people really understand how much work goes on behind the scenes to make sure that we're providing a quality education, for our students, right? And so I just needed to say that going into a new year, and we're going to continue to do that. We've got a lot of good things on the horizon. Obviously, our CTE additions and building improvements and things like that. But we're going to continue to grow and continue to get better, and it's a great district. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Moving on to the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the personal agenda? No addenda. Right?
Motion?
Second.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve student travel requests?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
A motion and a second to approve facility requests.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye.
Moving on to 14A, approve resolution declaring surplus property.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson.
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye. Motion and a second to approve a phone system replacement.
Motion?
Second.
Mrs. Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Jill Brogan.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling.
Aye, with a question. It doesn't have to have any amounts on there.
So there were amounts on the other one. I mean, you can read them if you want. We did check with council and this was fine, but you can read that full amount if you want to on the book item.
Bill is passed.
So, Rick Thompson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Just my question, I didn't catch that on the thing. My bad. All right, 14C, a motion to approve a bid to purchase two 33-passenger school buses for a cost of $199,994 with Central States Bus Sales.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
14D, a motion to approve recommendation to accept July and August 2022 treasury reports.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
14E, a motion and a second to approve an agreement with Lexia Learning Systems for professional development services in the amount of $60,680 paid with ESSER II funds.
Motion.
Second.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
14F, motion and a second to approve an agreement with Solution Tree for professional development services that will not exceed $7,500 paid with Title I funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
14G, a motion and a second to approve an agreement with ROE for two professional development presenters for January 17th SIP Day at a total cost of $7,000 paid with Title II funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Sterling? Mr. Sterling?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
I'm waiting for you to do a fast yes too. Motion and a second to approve a one-year digital subscription with Brain Pop and Brain Pop Jr. for a cost of $13,765.50, paid with Title I funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mrs. Sterling?
Aye.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just, there we go, okay. I was laughing at it.
I know. 14I, a motion and a second to approve a one-year digital subscription with Raz Kids for 14 licenses at $128 per license for a cost of $1,792 paid with Title I funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Trying to
Jill
even slow
Brogan?
it down.
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Yes, 14J, a motion and a second to approve a one-year digital subscription for reading A to Z for 22 license at $128 per license for a total cost of $2,816 paid with Title I funds. Motion.
Second.
Mr. Ranieri?
Oh, aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Ms. Brogan?
Yeah, aye.
This is one for the record, but. Can I get a motion and a second to approve recommendations to accept a memo of understanding with DLA Architects to provide architectural services for Harlem Middle School bathroom renovations and interior painting project?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve recommendation to accept memo of understanding with DLA to provide professional services for building mechanical control upgrades project?
Motion.
Second.
Didn't even finish.
What is this?
I'm sorry, but I didn't even finish. He has first, who has second?
Jill?
Okay.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
14M, can I get a motion to approve recommendation to accept memo of understanding with DLA to provide a 10-year life safety survey and facilities assessment update? Motion.
Second. Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve recommendation to renew a 1-year contract with Alex Gary Communications, Inc. at a cost of $1,000 per month?
Motion.
Second. Mr. Sterling?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks, aye.
Announcements and discussion. Anybody have anything that they want to say? Mr. Smith, always keeping it entertaining and light on our feet. Thank you. I want to say Merry Christmas and thank you to staff, students, and families alike. And with that,
I have
go ahead.
I also would like to give a shout out to everybody behind the scenes for Christmas for Kids. I don't think there's a year that I've missed since I've been on the board, and I absolutely love it and enjoy it.
It's good seeing you there.
It was fast-paced this year, because I did have to get out there and get to work, but, but we had fun. Students are so sweet, and so, it's so difficult for them to make a decision upon a toy or a couple of toys of what their favorite ones are on some of them. And then others, boy, they know exactly what they want and where they're going, and you better run to keep up with them.
Yeah, the first kid I took out was 35 minutes. We went across the store back and forth to 3 different items. He was gonna determine which one he wanted, but it had to stay there and he couldn't move with it. He had to go back to it, so. I had my walking shoes on that day.
Put a lot of miles on that
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
nonetheless. I think it was 6 miles that day. So it's a lot of fun, and I encourage everybody going forward to go and do it. I mean, it warms the heart, and I just wanna say thank you and appreciation for all the people behind the scene with all the raffles and the baskets and the get-togethers and donations from everybody. It's greatly appreciated. Without the community's involvement, this wouldn't be possible.
It takes a village. Good.
That is it.
All right, and with that, I need a motion and a second to go into executive session to discuss negotiations 5 ILCS 120-2C2 and security procedures 5 ILCS 120-2C8.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mrs. Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Ranieri? Aye. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Jill Brogan?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Sterling?
All right. All right, you guys got 5 minutes?
Sounds good.